Well, here we are, nearly 18 months after David Production initially announced that they would be producing an original video animation based on the 5th episode of Hirohiko Araki's series of one-shots, Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, Millionaire Village. It took a little less than a year before we saw the first sketches from the OVA, 2 more months for some screenshots to be revealed, 1 more month for an official trailer, and a final grueling 3 months of waiting while physical copies would be shipped out to the eligible recipients, being those who purchased all of the Diamond is Unbreakable Blu-rays, and then until it would be uploaded online as well as be subtitled. But through all of Rohan's trials and tribulations, the OVA has finally made its way to the Western audience to be enjoyed in its entirety with English subtitles courtesy of JoJo's Colored Adventure, as well as available on surprisingly YouTube of all places with English closed captioning. That will be linked down below, but I can't guarantee that that video will be available in the future, so I will also include a link to the JoJo Colored Adventure Facebook page, where you can find a download link to the OVA with just a bit of scrolling. So finally, after watching the completed production with more than acceptable subtitles, I can tell you all my thoughts and opinion on the latest animation to come from the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, Millionaire Village. Let's start off with probably the most important aspect from the OVA, the visuals or animation quality and the adaptation of Araki's later art style. This OVA has probably been the most controversial adaptation of JoJo, even more so than the dramatic change in style when Part 4 was first announced, but this is expected as David Production had the challenge of adapting the source material artwork as faithfully as possible, which is commonly referred to as Araki's current style. And I know you are all familiar with how much JoJo's visuals have changed since Part 4 in the late 90s to now. So most people were dissatisfied with characters' appearances, even going as far as calling the OVA's art style cursed, when in reality it's just simply different, and ultimately it's left up to the individual's opinion, because at the end of the day, whether it's Part 4 style or 8 style, it's still just art, and it's common for people to respond negatively to change, especially when it comes to their favorite characters that have a defined look that people are used to seeing. For example, Koichi and Okuyasu, as they had the same appearance for the entirety of Diamond is Unbreakable, now having this dramatic shift. But is one really better or worse than the other? That's up to you to decide. Personally, I like the new character designs as it's faithful to the source material, and I'm glad David Production took this into consideration and wasn't afraid to dramatically change characters' appearances rather than just ignore over a decade of Araki's progression and evolution as an artist. But when it comes to the actual animation quality, as expected, it is very good, but it's still David Production. The source material of Millionaire Village is pretty slow with only a few pages of visual intensity, so for a majority of the episode it's relatively calm and is very reminiscent of your average Diamond is Unbreakable episode, but more so on par with the quality of the Blu-ray redrawings. But like I said, it's still David Production, so we shouldn't have been expecting any Sakuga moments, but it's not to say it's bad by any means, as the climax of the episode was executed nearly perfect with the overall atmosphere and additional visuals to the source material. So for animation quality, it's as good as one would expect, knowing that it's coming from David Production, as well as knowledge of the source material. Unfortunately, I was a bit disappointed by the soundtrack used in this episode, as it's just composed of tracks from the Diamond is Unbreakable OST chopped up to match the atmosphere of Millionaire Village, but that's not entirely a bad thing, because the story is attached to Diamond is Unbreakable and is set for the most part in Morio. But the OVA does have at least some original music, being the opening and ending, which sound much more fitting for Millionaire Village, because unlike the other tracks in the episode, these were made specifically to fit the tone of this story. Also, there was some really nice additional sound effects, such as Heaven's Door's summoning sound being a bunch of scribbles. But speaking of the opening and ending, the last point I want to touch on to conclude my thoughts on this OVA are the anime-only original material added by David Production, being the opening credits, the ending scene with Rohan, Koichi, Okuyasu, and Josuke, and the ending credits. Actually, one more thing, I almost forgot the cameo to Akira in the beginning where you can see him walking in the background behind Kyoka. Good job, David Production. So starting with the opening, it was very simple and elegant, and again fitting the tone of the story with an eerie sound and dark abstract visuals as we go into Rohan's pen and objects begin to form from blotches of ink. As for the additional ending added by David Production, set at a familiar location featured throughout many of the Rohan one-shot stories, it would seem as just a simple conclusion to the episode, making things a bit more obvious, as Koichi asked Rohan if Kyoka's family was okay and Rohan confirmed they were. When in contrast to the original, this scene was never shown at all in the source material. It was just subtly showed that Kyoka's family was okay by the baby bird emerging from the box when they were leaving Millionaire Village. So I think the scene was added just to give people more familiar faces in the production, being Koichi and Okuyasu. Personally, I didn't mind the addition of the scene as it added some funny dialogue of Rohan agreeing to live at Okuyasu's house, but honestly, I don't think the OVA needed it, and it would have been perfectly fine without it. And lastly, we have the ending credits song, Finding the Truth, which personally I think is one of the greatest songs to ever come from JoJo anime, including all of the openings. Just listen to it and you'll understand, and it's also sung by the fan favorite Koda, who is the vocalist behind Bloody Stream.
Rise up to the sky like a butterfly, show me what's inside.
And with that said, the JoJo community's Rohan OVA arc has finally come to an end. It has been a long-awaited and highly anticipated project to say the least. In the end, I was very satisfied and enjoyed the OVA. But now, let's just wait patiently for whatever David Production has in store for us next. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Like if you enjoyed, and of course subscribe for more videos. Again, there are links down below in the description. As of right now, you can watch the Rohan OVA in its entirety on YouTube with English closed captioning, although I don't know how long that will be up there because I don't know what's going on with the copyright on this Rohan OVA. Usually, a full upload of an episode would be taken down immediately by Warner Brothers Japan, so I guess the copyright for it isn't up yet or in YouTube's algorithm. So I can't say that will be up forever, but of course there's also a download link to the JoJo Colored Adventure Facebook page. I would give you the direct link, but I don't think YouTube is too fond of me just giving out torrent links in the description, so there's their Facebook page there, and if you guys just scroll down or on the side tabs or whatever, I'm sure you guys will be able to find their post to their link of the Rohan OVA English subs. They did a really good job on it, and I'm very thankful for everything that JoJo Colored Adventure does for the community. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. Go ahead and watch the Rohan OVA if you haven't already. You guys got my opinion from this video. I very much enjoyed it. Anyways, guys, again, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed.